Hello students, welcome to English class. Hope you all are doing well. So today we are going to study lesson 3, Gopal and the Hilsa fish. Comic is something which is interesting, is it? And you might have read a lot of comic books like Little Audrey or maybe like Tenali Raman, Akbar and Birbal. So it's all very funny, at the same time it's also interesting. So today let's move with the new lesson. It's like a comic, Gopal and the Helsa fish. Please take page number 36. Before starting the lesson, let me explain something. Like throughout this comic you can see that there is a fish, Hilsa fish. Have you heard what is a Hilsa fish about? Never, is it? So I'll explain. Hilsa fish is a popular fish found in rivers of India, and it is mostly sold during monsoon season. So in the story, the season might be probably a monsoon. That's why everyone is talking about Hilsa fish. Now let's read. It was the season for Hilsa fish. Fishermen could think of nothing but Hilsa fish. Fishmongers sold nothing but Hilsa fish. Come, buy, the price of Hilsa is down today. Householders could talk of nothing but Hilsa fish. How much did you pay for that, Hilsa? You wouldn't believe it if I told you. And in the palace too, the courtiers could discuss nothing but Hilsa fish. Your Majesty, you should have seen the huge Hilsa I caught it was. So children, in the first page itself we can hear the word Hilsa fish throughout, is it? So actually it was a season of Hilsa fish. It was a monsoon season. As it was a monsoon season, all the fishmongers means people who sell fish, they were talking only about Helsa. As the price was down, there was a discount as it was a season. So all the fishmongers were talking about Helsa, and householders could talk of nothing but Helsa fish. Householders means people, or the head of the family. They were also talking about Helsa. So wherever or whichever place you meet in that time, everywhere it was Helsa fish. Okay, so in the palace also the courtiers could discuss nothing but Hilsa in the palace. Courtiers means people who sit in the court, ministers. They were also talking about Hilsa. So what happened? The king was getting irritated hearing all these news about Hilsa fish. And the courtiers, they didn't discuss about any matters of importance like any state affairs. They were also talking about Hilsa. So hearing this, what happened? The king was very angry. Now let's go to the next page. Stop it! Are you a courtier or a fisherman? The courtier fell silent with downcast eyes. The king felt guilty. I am sorry I lost my temper. It is the season for Hilsa fish and no one, not even Gopal, can stop anyone from talking about Hilsa fish, not even for 5 minutes. Oh, I think I could, Your Majesty. Then let me see you buy a huge Hilsa and bring it to the palace without anyone asking you a word about it. I accept the challenge, Your Majesty. So in the page 2 you can see the king is getting angry. Did you see the picture? He's beating on something and he's showing, stop it. Showing his anger. He's just telling, stop it. And he's asking, are you a courtier or a fisherman? Why you people are always talking about Hilsa? You people are actually courtiers. Courtiers means you have a sort of dignity in what you speak. Is it? Why you're speaking about fish always? So all the courtiers fell silent. They put their eyes down. Downcast eyes means they were so ashamed to talk about this topic. So actually the king was a bit guilty. Why? Because king should not be rude to the courtiers, is it? So he said, sorry, I lost my temper because everyone around me was talking about Hilsa. So because of that, I lost my temper. And in the next picture, you can see not even Gopal can stop anyone from talking about Hilsa fish. Not even for 5 minutes. Okay, Gopal. So from here, we can understand that Gopal was a courtier. King respected him very much. King loved him very much. So he was just telling why Gopal, even Gopal, cannot stop people from talking this topic. So Gopal took it as a challenge. What did he say? He said that I think I could, Your Majesty. So Gopal was trying to take away the topic Hilsa from the palace or from that area. Then let me see you buy a huge Hilsa and bring it to the palace without anyone asking you a word about it. So what was the challenge put by the king? The king told that you have to buy a huge Hilsa fish from the market and bring it to the palace. And when you are coming to the palace, nobody should talk about Hilsa. That was the challenge. So what did he say? I accept the challenge, Your Majesty. Gopal was ready to take the challenge. Now come to the next page. A few days later, why is your face half shaven? I am dressing up to buy a fish. What is the matter with you? Why are you smearing yourself with ash? I told you I'm dressing up to buy a Hilsa fish. Listen to me, please. You cannot possibly go out in those disgraceful rags. What are you up to? How many times must I tell you, woman, I am out to buy a huge Hilsa fish? It happened to him. He's gone mad. So in the next page, this page, what it is said, a few days later, after a few days, wife is asking Gopal, what nonsense you are doing, man? Why you are shaving your face in a half shaven way? Why you are doing like that? I'm dressing up to buy a Helsa. So he told he's going to buy the fish. Wife was actually surprised. Did you see the picture? What is the matter with you? Why are you smearing yourself with ash? So the lady is asking why you're putting ash on your face. Smearing means coating with that sticky ash, sticky substance, that is smearing. Then he insisted that he is going to buy a Helsa fish. So for that he is dressing. Wife was again repeating the same thing. Why are you going out in a disgraceful rags? Disgraceful means unacceptable, something which is not accepted, is it? Do you think a courtier like this should dress up in a disgraceful rags? Rags means old clothes. You can see the picture, it's all worn out. Then, how many times must I tell you, woman, I am out to buy a huge Hilsa fish? So he is telling, lady, I am going to buy a fish. I have been telling you from the beginning. Why are you disturbing me like this? He was in such an attitude. It's happened to him. He's gone mad. So why? So she understood that this man might have gone mad. Okay. Now, the next page you can see Gopal bought the Hilsa fish and started walking towards the palace. Mother, look at that man. Isn't he comical? So all the people were looking him in excitement or maybe in a surprise. Okay, so everybody was asking what that man has dressed up like this. He might be a mad person or that man looks really comical. So nobody was talking about the fish in his hand. He was dressed in such a way, is it? He must be a madman. Hush, I think he's a mystic. Mystic means, persons who believe in undefined power. Like something, they worship a deity or a special people. Okay. When Gopal reached the court, what do you want? I want to see the king. So when Gopal reached the court, even that soldiers didn't recognize him. So they asked in an angry mood. What do you want? So he said he want to see the king. You cannot see the king. Get away with you. Gopal began to dance and sing loudly. So when Gopal realized that courtiers are not letting him inside, he began to dance and sing. Now come to the next page. Inside the palace. The man is crazy. Throw him out at once. I want to see the king. Let me in. So king could hear the conversation between Gopal and the soldiers. They were making a lot of noise. So the king ordered soldiers to bring that man inside. Bring that man to me at once. Yes, your majesty. Gopal was brought before the king. It's Gopal. That man has lost his mind. I think it's one of his crazy jokes. So when Gopal was brought inside the palace, many ministers or courtiers, they understood that it was Gopal. And some commented. What was the comment? They said that the man has lost his mind. And the other jealous people, what did they think? They think it is one of his crazy jokes. So a lot of people had different opinion when they saw Gopal in such a way. Now come to the next page. All right, Gopal, out with it. Why are you dressed up in this ridiculous fashion? Your Majesty, you seem to have forgotten something. Forgotten something? Strangely enough, no one seems to be interested in Hilsa fish today. From the market to the palace and in the court, not a soul has spoken a word about Hilsa fish. Only then did the king remember the challenge he had thrown to Gopal. Haha, well, Gopal, congratulations. You have achieved the impossible once again. So you can see here in this page, king is asking why you have been dressed in such a ridiculous way. So Gopal said, you have forgotten something. You have put a challenge to me that from the market to the palace, I should bring a Hilsa fish and nobody should talk about it. So the king remembered the challenge he had given to Gopal, and the king was very happy that his courtier was such a brave person. So he congratulated Gopal for achieving such an impossible one. He said, really impossible. Do you think like that? Because it was a season of Helsa, all the time people were talking about Helsa from the morning to evening. So actually it was a big achievement from Gopal's part that he had brought that fish even without making anybody say about Hilsa said. So children, I'll just tell you the summary of the lesson once again. It was a season of Hilsa fish, so all the courtiers, all the people, even in the market, everybody was talking about Hilsa, and fishmongers were offering a lot of discounts to the customers to buy this fish. Then the height of popularity reached the king's palace. Even the ministers and courtiers were talking about the same. The king got irritated, and what did he order? He was very angry, and he ordered everybody to stop talking about that. Then the king challenges Gopal to bring Hilsa fish in the palace without talking about it. People should not talk about Hilsa fish. That was the challenge given by the king. Gopal accepted the challenge. Then a few days later, Gopal, half shaven his face, smeared ashes on his face and body, and he wore a rag. Rag means a dirty cloth, old cloth. Actually, he looked like a filthy beggar, is it? You can see in the picture, just like a beggar. And his wife continuously opposed him. Please don't go out in such a ridiculous way. But he did not listen. Then you can see from the market, he bought a Hilsa fish, walks towards the palace. Then no one was actually interested to talk about Hilsa. Then they were all commenting about his appearance. And at the palace gate, he stopped by the soldiers. They thought that he was a beggar, but he insisted on meeting the king. Then after making so much of noise and some commotions, the king allows the man to come in. So in the palace, The king as well as the courtiers recognized him. So from his journey to fish market to the palace, no one bothered to see what he is carrying. No one gave attention even to that fish. Then actually they were all looking at the appearance of Gopal. Okay, thus in such a stunning way, Gopal accomplished the challenge. He wins the heart of the king. Okay, this is just a summary. Now let's come to the character of Gopal. From the beginning you understand that Gopal was a courtier in the palace. He was brave and bold, and when the time came, he did not shy away from taking the challenge, is it? Rather, he went ahead. Then he got into the form of a beggar and brought the Hilsa fish inside the palace without raising even a single word about it. Then you can see Gopal was very simple and down to earth person. Otherwise, people at courtiers, they don't try to get in such low levels, is it, just to impress their king. But he was very down to earth person. He was ready to take up the challenge. Then what all values you can see in Gopal? Fight with the soldiers, is it? He could have said that I am Gopal, I am the courtier. No, he was not like that. He kept his promise. Just like a beggar, he dressed up. He approached the king, and he was a very successful person in accomplishing his task. He was a brave man. Okay, he was not ready to run away from the challenges. So children, hope you all enjoyed this lesson. Thank you for listening.